Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this morning there was a bomb dropped on digital assets, and I mean in a good way. This thing's pretty explosive, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about here in a second. But first, I wanted to show you this market at 1.4 trillion. We got Bitcoin that's headed back up to about 48,000 almost. We've got the one thing I haven't talked about much. You got Cardano going crazy. It's like at 92 cents. XRP under an SEC lawsuit is at 51 cents. Explain that to me unless somebody knows something. 51 cents, 52 cents now, folks. That is mind-blowing. Now then we've got Stellar that's at 44 cents. Things are looking pretty interesting, folks. They're getting really interesting. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you first. Elon Musk keeps on tweeting about Dogecoin, and I wanted to make a point here. He said he bought some Dogecoin for his little son. He calls his son X, I believe. So, what a coincidence. So, he said he can be bought some Dogecoin for little X so he can be a toddler hoodler, okay? He tweeted that out, and I retweeted it, and I said, this is entirely appropriate. My son's toys are never used again after, about 2 weeks after Christmas. That's how it works. That's how it is with toys. And that's exactly correct. Look, folks, when Elon Musk is gone, and when those green candles are gone, you need to ask yourselves, what do you really have in Dogecoin? I won't harp on that anymore. You just need to think about it. If there is no use case, nothing's happening. Okay, you need to see this. Now, Max Kaiser is tweeting this because he's laughing at Nouriel Roubini about this. But what I'm interested in doing is playing this Nouriel Roubini clip for you and stopping and telling you which parts are true that he's saying. Because these Bitcoin maxis, they tend to ignore what they don't want to hear even when it's true. Now, I don't agree with Nouriel Roubini that all digital assets are just not worth anything and all that. But I do agree with parts of what he says about Bitcoin, and I'll tell you those parts. Here we go.
In the case of Bitcoin, it doesn't have any income, it doesn't have any use, it doesn't have any utility. So what's the value of it based on what?
Everything he just said is correct. It does not have any utility. All they can do is call it a store of value. And the reason they do that, it's a marketing program. The reason they do it is because it doesn't have any utility because it's a dinosaur technology already. That's a fact. It's true.
Based on no intrinsic value and purely a speculative bubble. That's why I argue that Bitcoin, like all the other shit coins, are worth zero. Actually negative given the hogging of energy and their mental cost. It was
everything you said so far is true. I'll stop it when I want to comment again.
On crypto, the value of these assets will be negative. So what's the fundamental value? What's the use? What's the utility that justifies the capital gain? None. Is a speculative bubble that is based on pump and up, spoofing, wash trading, and manipulation by Tether.
Now, what he just said about manipulation by Tether, it's 100% true. The fact that the SEC has not gone after Tether is mind-boggling. But that's true too. Bitcoin maxis don't want to talk about that either.
A scam. So for institutional investors saying we're going to invest into crypto doesn't make any sense. You have a failing company that had a flat stock market like MicroStrategy for a decade, and its head was a coke addict.
Now that I am not commenting on. I don't know why he's slandering the name of the guy from what's his name, Michael Saylor. I don't know anything about that.
Tend to bet the entire house on Bitcoin. That's irresponsible behavior. There's not going to be any corporate head who's going to put his cash, as you pointed out clearly, into something that is so volatile. You put your cash in something this stable. And for somebody like Elon Musk, who knows that there's a market impact to manipulate, first take an individual position into Bitcoin, pump the price up, and then say that Tesla has invested and Tesla doesn't make money yet, it's also irresponsible and it's market manipulation. The SEC should be looking to people that have a market impact, that manipulate the price of assets. That's also criminal behavior.
Everything this guy's saying makes a lot of sense.
The SEC should be looking into that.
I mean, if you really break it down, the only reason that he's being laughed at is because the price of Bitcoin has been going up. I have a feeling that when the price is going down, people may listen to what this guy is saying, because I'm not saying with regard to crypto, I am saying with regard to Bitcoin, what he's saying is true.
Come on, it's a totally criminal enterprise. Tether is a criminal enterprise, and a bunch of waves.
I did not say that Tether's a criminal enterprise. Don't get me there. I'm just saying that it's something that has to be looked at.
Insiders are manipulating the price of Bitcoin and other shitcoins day in, day out. That's a fact.
Okay, moving along. Wanted you to see this. This is one of the, I think this guy is the Twitter CFO. Twitter CFO, listen to what he says.
CFO question for you here.
All right.
Which is we just watched. Well, we just watched Elon Musk take corporate treasury money effectively and invest it in Bitcoin. And given Jack Dorsey's interest in Bitcoin, I'm curious what your reaction to that was and how you think about that potentially for Twitter itself.
We watch closely what other companies do to see what we can learn from them. And when we think about our balance sheet, we think about matching how it's invested and the currencies in which it's invested relative to how we might pay people, whether it's paying somebody who's providing a service to us or paying employees. So we've done a lot of the upfront thinking to consider how we might pay employees should they ask to be paid in Bitcoin, how we might pay a vendor if they ask to be paid in Bitcoin, and whether we need to have Bitcoin on our balance sheet should that happen. It's something we continue to study and look at. We want to be thoughtful about over time, but we haven't made any changes yet.
What would be the tipping point for you, though? I mean, what is it you think you're either looking for, waiting for, that would actually put that over the top for you to make that decision?
Well, one of the key things we'd look at would be if people were asking to transact with us in Bitcoin, because then we might consider whether we would be transferring dollars to Bitcoin at the time of the transaction, or if we wanted Bitcoin on our balance sheet ready to complete that transaction. When we hedge currencies, when we do business in another country, when we think about all the different exposures that we have, we're really trying to match our assets and our liabilities, and we take the same approach to Bitcoin that we do to all the other types of risks that we have.
And we know that Jack Dorsey is a big Bitcoin fan. So, all right, now moving along. Here's the bombshell that I was telling you about. This is exciting stuff. All right, this is new from CoinDesk. Institutions will soon be able to hold Bitcoin and other digital assets at BNY Mellon, the world's largest custodian bank. Let me tell you what, did we call it or did we call it? I've been talking about BNY Mellon on this channel for over 2 years. BNY Mellon and PolySign. PolySign. It's at the very center of all of this. We called it. This is a bombshell, and it's a bombshell for a lot of reasons. And I'll go into this article, but first, before I show you this, I wanted to show you, I noticed that someone had plopped this video down here this is the CTO of R3. This is a famous clip. He's one of the many people who just can't talk. He's not allowed to talk about Ripple.
Frankly, Ripple is probably the only topic I can't talk about. So I just don't talk about it. I can't talk about it.
All right. I thought that was funny because that's the way PolySign's, but we just can't talk about it. Anything having to do with PolySign, a lot of things with Ripple, for the last 2 years, it's been graveyard talk, quiet. Okay, here's the BNY Mellon article. It says BNY Mellon announces crypto custody and SPY's integrated services. The world's biggest custodian bank beats rivals JP Morgan and Citi to the punch. Now, remember, it was January 15th when Goldman Sachs came out in an article on CoinDesk just like this one and said that they were coming out with crypto custody soon themselves. And it was mentioned in that article that JP Morgan and Citigroup were also working on it. So it looks like it's like an alignment almost, like BNY Mellon on this side, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup on this side. Who knows who else is the allies on the side of BNY Mellon? But it's interesting because you're watching this competition unfold. But it says here, BNY Mellon, world's largest custodian bank with some 41 trillion in assets in its safekeeping, is moving into crypto. Announced Thursday, they're going to roll out a new digital custody unit later this year to help clients deal in digital assets, including cryptocurrencies. The platform we have built would service any of those assets, and da-da-da-da-da. So the bottom line is, and here's what you need to understand about this. I've always felt like the reason, think about it, we've never, including Coinbase, we as retail investors in crypto have never been able to put our crypto on an exchange, and they have custody. Coinbase, all of them, they have custody. But there's a reason I've always felt like it was a deal with the big boys. There's a reason that we have not been able to put our digital assets on a platform from whether it's Coinbase or any of the others and not worry about whether a hacker was going to steal it. And the reason I believe, and always have believed, I believe this was the signal when you start to see these big boys. These are the traditional custodians. They get to hold all of the assets. BNY Mellon, State Street, Northern Trust, JP Morgan, all these guys, they are the custodians in traditional finance. And I always believed that there was some kind of a deal where they were going to get to harvest all of these assets, because remember, this is the great wealth transfer. And if it's really the great wealth transfer, do you think that these big companies like this were going to allow all these startups to be managing the most assets in the history of the world? No, they were going to harvest the assets. And I think that's what this is about. I think that you and I are going to be able to open an account with a BNY Mellon or with a JP Morgan or with a Goldman Sachs, like Goldman Sachs Marcus, their online platform, and send your digital assets into those platforms, because they know that this is the great wealth transfer and they weren't going to not be a part of it. Now, who's BNY Mellon and what does that have to do with Ripple and XRP? Well, this is PolySign. PolySign is the most secretive institutional custody platform on the planet. And guess who started it? Well, one of the guys, retired vice chairman from BNY Mellon, and there's also another guy from BNY Mellon who's on the corporate documents for this we've shown before. You also have two of the guys, David Schwartz and Arthur Brito, whose picture has never been seen. And you've got them that helped to start PolySign, okay? And by the way, let me make a point here. This guy, his face has never been seen. I tweeted something out to this effect yesterday, but I'll make the point again as long as you're here. Can you imagine if when the personal PC was created, imagine if everybody during that transition, imagine if all of us that were getting PCs in our homes, imagine if Bill Gates was anonymous and the guy that started Apple, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Steve Jobs. Imagine that Steve Jobs, you knew his name, but you never saw his face. And Bill Gates was completely anonymous. In fact, he went by a pseudonym like Satoshi Nakamoto. Can you imagine a world where the onset of the entire personal computer business came on and those two things happened? No, you really can't. But is that not what's going on in crypto? We literally, the XRP ledger, which will be a part of changing the world, has one of the guys has never shown his face that created it. And Satoshi Nakamoto is completely anonymous, the creator of Bitcoin. Have you ever heard of such a thing in your entire life? I haven't. Never. And I don't think you ever will again. And nobody's really asking why. Not really. Nobody. How come? Why? you would think that thousands of private investigators, I mean, we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry is where this is going. And nobody's hired private investigators or anything to go and find out who these people are and what in the world's going on. I find that odd. Back to BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon, reinventing payments. This was put out by Ripple Insights, November 14th, 2016. And there's also this. One of the guys who pops up in 2018, Matthew Mellon, the heiress to the BNY Mellon fortune, just happened to own, I think it became worth $1 billion, his XRP holdings at one time. And guess what? And then he ended up dying of supposedly a drug overdose. And they said, I've read two different versions of it. For security reasons, only himself had access to the funds, meaning the money may now be lost. But then there's another article on Forbes that I read that said that he had hard storage custody in different places around the world. So which is it? I don't think his XRP ever was lost personally. But anyway, that's not the point of this. The point is this. Here's an article from CNBC. Go down here and let's see this. This guy, most recently, this is an article from April 17th, 2018. Most recently, he's an advisor for the digital currency company Ripple Labs. All coincidences, right? Yeah. And then Bank XRP tweeted this out back in 2018. Volanti Technologies launches accelerator for bank integration to Ripple's distributed financial technology 2015. U.S.-based banking heavyweight BNY Mellon have joined forces to create and deploy technology to enable real-time payments in the U.S. and internationally. And you can see the whole diagram right here. Okay? Then there was this. I am Legion, my theory. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan Chase left R3. R3 stayed with Ripple and SBI. So now it's Goldman and Company versus R3, including State Street, BOA, BNY Mellon, and Ripple SBI. I like the sound of that. Okay, XRP Crypto Wolf, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said she sees the promise of cryptocurrency. I see the promise of these new technologies, but I also see the reality. Crypto has been used to launder profits of online drug traffickers and a tool to finance terrorism. And she always says that in relation to Bitcoin. The story of Bitcoin has not been fully written yet, folks. Be careful out there. Now, Real XRP Boy had sent this clip out, I believe, yesterday, and I wanted to show it to you if you haven't ever seen it. Listen to this. This is David Schwartz, one of the creators of the XRP Ledger.
This is a modern payment system built on blockchain technology that allows end-to-end payment negotiation, fee discovery, pathfinding, multi-hop payments, and so on. And it's sort of agnostic to how the payment settles. It can settle with a digital asset, it can settle through a traditional Forex desk or through correspondent banking. It's agnostic to how the payment's going to settle and allows financial institutions to choose the settlement method that works best for the particular payment. XRP is a universal vehicle of value. This is one of the tools that Ripple is using to solve the international payment challenge. This is a digital asset that moves value between two parties in just a few seconds in a neutral system. It doesn't have an operator. It doesn't have a central counterparty. It's censorship resistant. It's fast and reliable. XRP lives on the XRP ledger, just like Bitcoin lives on the Bitcoin blockchain. The XRP ledger has some very interesting properties, though. It's very cheap, a tiny, tiny fraction of a penny. It's very fast. Payments can be fully confirmed in less than 10 seconds. It's available on over 100 exchanges and traded on over 200 currency pairs. So this is an open source, decentralized technology that provides a digital asset that provides scalability, speed, and low cost. It enables the full settlement of transactions for fractions of a penny. The XRP ledger doesn't just host XRP, though. It has a tremendous amount of built-in functionality. It's a sort of fixed function blockchain. It's not like Ethereum where you can add your own functionality yet. There's been work to add that feature, but it does have very sophisticated fixed function transactors, and a major feature is issued assets and the decentralized exchange. So issued assets are assets other than XRP that have some counterparty. You can set credit and balance limits. You can decide what issued assets you want to hold. There are order books, so people who want to trade one asset for another can trade them. And cross-asset payments work using the liquidity in the order book. So if there's someone who's willing to trade US dollars for Bitcoin, then you can pay US dollars and deliver Bitcoin or vice versa. And the network will figure out how to make that payment work for you. And payments have incremental execution, so you don't have to buy down a single order book and get a bad rate for a large payment. Payments can execute across multiple order books concurrently. These are features that have been around in the XRP ledger since 2012.
That is just one of hundreds of videos that I've shown on this channel that excite me about my ownership of XRP. You can't find one video like that, even bordering on that, to describe why you should be excited about Dogecoin. You just can't. Digital Perspectives, give him a follow at Backup Bradley. Give him a follow. He sent me this, where someone apparently leaked a conference meeting with the Discover Financial CEO considering options to replace SWIFT payment system with Ripple. I got to turn my sound up here because it's really low. So let's see if you can hear this.
Network. Is Discover considering partnering with cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies such as Ripple?
So I would separate out blockchain, where we are actively considering that both for our treasury function, but also within our payments business for some commercial payments applications. So there, we are actively looking at it and actually have done some pilots on the payment side of the business.
You better believe you have. Let me turn that volume back down. I don't know what that affects. Okay. So, moving along, Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. I thought this, wow, just wow. This is from Pomp, this is the same guy that says in China can shut things down, but they can't control them, when he was in an interview with Brad Garlinghouse, which spurred the funny face from Brad Garlinghouse. The Lightning Network is going to disrupt legacy payment networks, and they won't see it coming. Matt Hamilton says, no, it won't. Lightning is a complete usability nightmare. It won't disrupt anything. LOL, okay, you strike me as someone who pours milk in a bowl before the cereal, but he doesn't try to argue what Matt Hamilton's talking about, because Matt Hamilton is like one of those guys who's genius and makes your head hurt. And so if he says something like this, you better believe it's true. And nobody's ever been able to display how the Lightning Network works. And I got news for Pomp. XRP already is a Lightning Network, and he knows it. Okay, I wanted to show you just the beginning of this. This is from Sir Gordon Gecko. Give him a follow, at Gordon Gecko 369. It's about hackers who have been busted for doing SIM swaps.
Dabu 7, we have word now that at least 10 individuals have been apprehended, held by the authorities. 8 of these individuals taken in by Europol. 2 of them were arrested here in Malta and Belgium, all part of the same network, they're saying, after authorities in Canada, Europe, UK, the US, all coordinated with Europol, conducted this year-long investigation tracking this group of individuals that was going around rich people, other famous people. They were targeting them, and they were doing this through these SIM swap attacks.
Okay, SIM swap attacks. I keep telling you this. I'm going to put at the top of the description of this video a link to the YubiKey. They're like $50. Now, I described it the other day. This shows you the thing in their video. This is what you can do. You use a username and a password for like your Coinbase account, but this is an add-on. This is institutional grade security. These things are like $50, and I use one too.
Easy and available for everyone. So we invented the YubiKey, a ubiquitous security key for accessing all computers, phones, networks, and online services with a simple touch.
So all you do with it is you type in your username and password, then you have to have that YubiKey, and if you don't have it, you can't get into an account. So some guy that's trying to hack your account from Europe or whatever, if you're in the US, cannot hack your account if he doesn't have that physical key. This way people can't do a SIM swap on you. It's huge. I'm going to put the link to this at the top of the description. I've got a discount code too. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the BNY Mellon Bombshell is a monster piece of news. It's a game changer. Thank you for listening.